This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. As you know, we're here covering the annual Bilderberg conference, and I'm joined right now by the one and only Charlie Skelton, a journalist I admire very much, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this talking point on the agenda list dealing with the future of the EU. And it seems to me that the Bilderberg group must be concerned with Brexit and this whole idea of Britain seceding essentially from the Union. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think they feel about it?
Well, I think it was a genuine and big loss for Bilderberg and a lot of the Europhiles around this group of people that the Brexit vote went the way it did. In fact, just before the vote, you could see people, you could see members of the steering committee, the Bilderberg steering committee, getting out there and about, and on the stump and doing photo opportunities, making speeches, anything to get the Remain vote to pass. But it didn't, and I think they've licked their wounds though, and they're back with a vengeance with France, and clearly now they're trying to kind of reform Europe, probably around the kind of French-German relationship, and yeah, so I mean, it's a problem for them. They've spent the best part of 60 years putting Europe together, and now it's slightly fallen apart. So they're quickly trying to reforge it.
Yeah, and it seems like they're going to all kinds of different lengths to do this, even propagandizing this idea of being in love with the state. I mean, you were talking about a little bit before about some of the symbolism going around there to get people, consciously thinking about this. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, I've been to a couple of the kind of pro-Remain marches just to see what was going on and take some photos. And something that's very noticeable is the number of love hearts around. The stars of the EU formed from hearts, or just simply the EU with a big heart shape around it. I heart EU. This constant message, which is one of actual love towards the European Union, which is love towards a large administrative body that I don't quite understand. It doesn't seem to me something you could love. You could rationally kind of go, oh yeah, I think this is an organisation that works well for my country and for my for Europe as a whole. But this love I find really quite baffling, and this it's sort of been whipped up into a kind of a youth thing. We're the young and we love Europe. We want to be together, man, because it's one world and we're all together and in this loving, wonderful thing. And come on, EU, woo! And I find that kind of just intellectually redundant and politically naive and kind of creepy.
Well, it sounds like a good thing, right? I mean, can't we all get along? Let's all join into one big happy family. And just in closing, I mean, there's some people here who may be wondering, well, yeah, what is wrong with that? Why wouldn't you want to join in with the union and, work together?
I mean, you can do. I mean, it's not to say, that, oh, you might want a little bit more self-determination in your country. It's not to say that you are somehow antagonistic towards your neighbours, or that you don't want to trade with them, or that you don't want to go and visit them, or or anything like that. Yeah, I don't. I think there's a lot of false antagonisms being put up at the moment around the whole debate.
So there's ways of working together, just not necessarily under that particular umbrella.
We have there's an organisation called the European Council that works perfectly well anyway. Never mind the vast administrative and bureaucratic body of the EU. So yeah, there's just layers and layers and layers of organisation which I don't know. I mean, I personally think could be done without.
Yeah, well, I remember a time when they were saying the European Union would not have a leader, essentially, and then they elected some guy, Herman von Rompuy, I think his name was, and then it turns out there is a leader of this thing. So it seems like the consolidation of power into fewer and fewer hands. Is that a safe assessment?
Well, it certainly is, and I think also a distancing of individuals from the place of power and decision making. So the distance between me as an individual living in the UK and Brussels is just considerably bigger than my relationship with Westminster, which is already big enough. So you know what I mean in terms of distance. So I kind of feel like it's an empowering of the EU is an anti-democratic process. I really do believe that.
Right. All right, thank you so much for talking to us on that note. I personally am, in line with thinking of having 7.5 billion individual sovereign citizens as opposed to one giant collective consciousness under the rule of some psychotic world order. Once again, thank you so much for talking to us.